Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to look at what's really happening between Israel and Lebanon in the Middle East. The border between Israel and Lebanon has long been a hotspot for conflict, tension, and geopolitical maneuvering. But what's really happening between these two neighbors right now? Let's break it down. To understand today's situation, we need to revisit history. The Israel-Lebanon conflict is deeply rooted in decades of territorial disputes, armed interventions, and the rise of Hezbollah, a Shiite militant group backed by Iran. Israel and Lebanon's animosity intensified during the 1982 Lebanon War, when Israel invaded Lebanon to push back against the Palestinian Liberation Organization. But it was the rise of Hezbollah that escalated tensions further. Hezbollah, which emerged in the early 1980s, aimed to resist Israeli occupation in southern Lebanon and quickly gained power through a mix of military force and social programs. Fast forward to 2006, the Second Lebanon War. Hezbollah's cross-border raids and missile attacks triggered a massive Israeli military response. The war ended without a decisive victory for either side, but solidified Hezbollah's role as a formidable force in Lebanon. So, what's happening now? Tensions between Israel and Hezbollah have remained high, but recent events have escalated fears of a broader conflict. 1. Skirmishes at the border. Over the past few months, there have been numerous skirmishes along the Israel-Lebanon border. These have ranged from rocket attacks on northern Israeli towns to Israeli airstrikes targeting Hezbollah positions in Lebanon. Both sides regularly engage in what's called tit-for-tat exchanges, where one provocation leads to retaliation. 2. Hezbollah's growing military strength. Hezbollah's military capabilities have evolved significantly since the 2006 war. With advanced missiles, drones, and experience from fighting in Syria's civil war, Hezbollah poses a greater threat to Israel than ever before. Experts estimate Hezbollah has over 100,000 rockets and missiles, some capable of striking deep into Israeli territory, including Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. In response, Israel has ramped up its military preparations, building missile defense systems like Iron Dome and reinforcing its northern defenses. But the key question remains, is war imminent? This conflict isn't just about Israel and Lebanon. It's part of a much bigger regional picture. Hezbollah receives significant backing from Iran, both financially and militarily. Iran views Hezbollah as a key asset in its strategy of resistance against Israel and Western influence in the region. Meanwhile, Syria, under President Bashar al-Assad, also supports Hezbollah, providing a vital land corridor for weapons from Iran to reach Lebanon. Israel, on the other hand, is allied with Western nations like the U.S., who provide military aid and diplomatic backing. The U.S. has designated Hezbollah as a terrorist organization, and Israel's leadership sees the group as Iran's proxy army on its doorstep. The broader Israeli-Iranian rivalry plays out through Hezbollah, making the situation between Israel and Lebanon a potential flashpoint for a wider regional conflict. This shadow war has included Israeli airstrikes on Hezbollah and Iranian targets in Syria, as well as cyber attacks and espionage. Compounding the tensions is Lebanon's ongoing domestic crisis. The country is grappling with one of the worst economic collapses in its history, leaving millions of people in poverty. Basic services like electricity and healthcare have deteriorated, and the government is seen as deeply corrupt and dysfunctional. In this environment, Hezbollah remains a dominant force. Although many in Lebanon criticize Hezbollah for dragging the country into conflict with Israel, the group maintains significant support, particularly within the Shia community. With the Lebanese government unable to assert full control over Hezbollah's military activities, tensions with Israel are largely driven by the group's actions, not by official Lebanese policy. Hezbollah's dual role, as both a political party and an armed militia, puts Lebanon in a precarious position, where the state's sovereignty is constantly challenged by the group's military capabilities. So, are we heading toward another war? On one hand, both Israel and Hezbollah have reasons to avoid full-scale conflict. Israel is wary of the heavy civilian toll that a war with Hezbollah would bring, especially given the group's capacity to launch thousands of rockets at Israeli cities. On the other hand, Hezbollah's involvement in Syria has strained its resources, and another war could further destabilize Lebanon at a time when the country can least afford it. However, the situation remains extremely volatile. Incidents such as border skirmishes, missile launches, or even political assassinations could easily spark a broader confrontation. Both sides continue to prepare for the possibility of war, but for now, it's a delicate balance of deterrence. International efforts to maintain peace, such as the United Nations Interim Force in Lebanon, UNIFIL, have helped reduce the risk of an immediate outbreak of hostilities, but tensions remain high. A single miscalculation could plunge the region into another destructive conflict. The international community plays a crucial role in attempting to mediate between Israel and Hezbollah. The United States and European nations have repeatedly urged for calm and diplomatic solutions, while also imposing sanctions on Hezbollah and its financial networks. Russia, which has influence in both Syria and Lebanon, could also be a key player in de-escalating tensions, though its focus has largely been on its own regional priorities. Meanwhile, Gulf Arab nations, particularly Saudi Arabia, view Hezbollah's rise as a threat, aligning themselves more closely with Israel's stance on countering Iran's influence in the region. In the coming months, diplomatic efforts may intensify, but without addressing the root causes of the Israel-Hezbollah rivalry, such as Iran's regional ambitions and Lebanon's political instability, the risk of a new war remains. So, what's really happening between Israel and Lebanon? It's a complex mix of history, geopolitics, and local tensions. While both sides are wary of all-out war, the possibility of escalation is always on the horizon. As long as Hezbollah's military presence persists and Israel sees it as an existential threat, this volatile situation will continue to simmer, with the risk of a new conflict just one spark away. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell to stay updated on developments in the Middle East and beyond. Let us know in the comments what other topics you'd like us to cover. See you in the next video.